In this final episode of this exclusive interview, Context.ph goes lighthearted, speaking to MVP about the things that takes away his work-related stress, the lessons from life and sports, the time he spends with family, his regrets, the places he looks forward to visit, and understanding kids. Set of light-hearted questions lang, mga light questions lang, sir. What is your typical weekend, sir?
Giving interviews like this.
besides the periodic interviews, sir, you still have time
Well,
for downtime or meetings pa rin ba, or
No, and I've been criticized for that, and quite rightly, as I age. Saturdays, I usually start around noon because mornings of Saturdays and Sundays are sacred to me because it's the only time I can sleep and wake up late, no, in the morning. So I start my day around noontime on Saturdays and early afternoon on Sundays. And then that carries me through the evening because in the evening I play badminton on Saturdays and Sundays.
how long do you play, sir, a game?
2 hours.
2 hours.
Hindi naman continuous with the breaks. So about 2 hours. Yeah.
That's your weekend exercise, sir, badminton.
Well, midweek or twice, 2 times during weekdays. I try to at least once, if not 2 days. So at least a minimum of 3 days during the week if I'm not traveling. No?
Sir, what was the last book that you've read? And any lessons that come to mind from that book? Or favorite book?
Well, the last book I read was about metaverse, right? And because it's sort of the in thing now, no? And good book. I'm not saying I totally understood what he wrote. So, but I think you have to read it to really understand what it is all about. And then hopefully we can get this author. Actually, he was in our governance committee briefing. I think I forgot the
local author.
no, it's a foreign author. We had him actually speak in our last governance committee meeting for the group, and I think it's good to bring him here to really understand what this phenomenon is all about because it will impact on principally on PLDT and SMART, no? But I think on others as well, on other sectors of business and disruptions that could flow from the consequences of adopting a quick adoption of the metaverse. No?
Sir, another slum book question. If a young executive comes to you for advice on how to succeed in business, what would you tell him and why?
Go look for examples elsewhere. Don't look to me. As they say, don't follow me, I'm lost.
Okay. Do you have any life regrets, sir, or based on your personal or business?
Well, of course, there are things, if you look back, there are things one feels he should have done, no? Or not done as well. So I probably have a long list of things I should have done. But yeah, that's another interview, I think.
Sige, sir. All-time number one comfort food, sir, for you?
Me? Pork chop.
Pork chop.
Yeah.
Pork chop niyo na, sir.
Huh?
Pork chop. Sino nagluto, sir?
Si Irene Marcos. She has the best pork chop in town.
Talaga, sir. Interesting. Is there any... what was the last country you visited for leisure? Is it even possible? Meron ba kayong nabisita, sir?
Nung
for
Pasko,
downtime?
with the family that was in Tokyo.
Tokyo. How was it, sir?
It was good. Mixed with you mix business with family time and shopping, and it turns out also last December, post Christmas, Anthony Salim and his family were also in Tokyo, and we're staying in the same hotel as we were.
Unplanned?
It was unplanned for me. I don't know about him. Yeah, so we sort of got together, and so that was the business part of it. One time we did it with Vic Tinsay. So we had we were reviewing the budgets of the group. We had a sort of semi-global presence. So we flew in to London the night before, so we were in the evening. Then early morning meeting, budget review, and then we took the Concorde to New York. We arrived right before lunch, so we had a lunch meeting to review the budgets of our New York operations. And then mid-afternoon, flew to San Francisco to review the bank's budgets. Late afternoon, then dinner. So in one day, I had breakfast in London, lunch in New York, and dinner in San Francisco, all on the same day.
Sir, besides watching basketball and playing badminton, are there other activities you do to distress or let your hair down? Or?
Well, I don't know. I think principally those two. Breaks with the family is a de-stressing moment for me as well. But also, even the informal conversations with our executives and with the badminton crowd, it just diverts your attention from the exigencies of the business, diba? So, it helps. But one important lesson for sports is that number one, for this kind of a job, you really need to be physically fit. If you're not, I think that's one lesson I've been trying to stress to our executives, that they really need to adopt a sport, and so they can be healthy, But also you do know that when you play badminton or any other sport, that you have to focus on that activity at the time you're playing, Because if you bring your problems on the court, you know for certain that you will not play well. Diba? So what's the point of engaging a physical activity if you're not serious about it, or at least not focus on doing what it is you're doing, So, importante yun. There are valuable lessons in sports that carry over to life in general, diba? Apart from those, there are many other lessons, because it's a metaphor for life, isn't it? Sports is so.
Tama ba, sir, the First Pacific office Sumulong, you're turning it into a sports center, or?
No, that's the First Pacific Leadership Academy in Antipolo. Yeah. I think we built the two sports centers there. The badminton, I understand, will be ready for use by the third week of April.
There's a new court.
Yeah. We built that 8 courts, and I think it's championship quality, including the new lights that I cleared last night, and the boxing rings for ABAP, Amateur Boxing Association of the Philippines.
Okay. I live near dun, sir. Minsan nagko-coffee ako dun sa
Tipolo.
Oo.
Nice place.
Yeah. Saka, I think they opened it up to cyclists as well. So, a number of cyclists go there.
That's right.
Coffee, breakfast. Do you have a playlist, sir, and what songs are in it?
Mostly 70s and 80s, yes, I do.
70s, 80s? What are your go-to bands, or meron mo kayong favorite tracks off the top of your head, sir?
Gosh.
Mga favorite tunes that you want to listen to relax or whatever?
It's mostly the, I guess, the romantic songs, or of course, the Earth, Wind, Fire during the disco. It was also the height of the disco songs at that time, So I think that's what I recall. I don't understand the young kids today, because I don't have any kids, right? So, but they can't seem to cope with the stresses of everyday life. Well, not all of them, but some of them, parang gano'n. Ibang kanilang attitude, That's why I keep telling my pamangkins na, the world doesn't owe you a living. You have to engage the world. You cannot withdraw from it. You have to engage and deal with the world. Not necessarily accept the terms of the world, because it also has its own terms. But you cannot impose your terms on this thing. You cannot. So you gotta deal with it in your own way, in your own time. Oo, sa nila. Kasi some of them, di ba, medyo...
May apo ka na ba sa mga pamangkin, sir?
Oo, 12 sila.
At 12?
One of them is buntis na so I'll be a great-grandfather.
Last question, sir, on my end. With the many things, with your various accomplishments, or are there any other things that you want to do or achieve before you hang your hat, or for you other personal bucket list, for personal or business bucket list that you still want to tick off?
Well, I know I haven't been to places that perhaps I need to go to. Like pretty much, I'd like to visit Ephesus for the where the Blessed Virgin lived for a while, and then I think that's where she died, in that place. I've been to Jerusalem. It wasn't exactly moving for me, to be honest. It's good to be there, but yeah. I don't know where else. I like to visit Turkey because of principally because of that's the place where Alexander crossed and spent a number of years. Places of antiquity that of people I admire, like Alexander. So maybe Greece is part of that itinerary. Yeah. Apart from those, I don't. I've been to other places that are no longer as interesting as before. No? Di ko alam eh. Kasi, of course, I haven't retired before. So I don't know how it would feel to... Pero I think, yeah, I don't think I want to be completely out, that you're not doing anything. No? I think mamamatay ako pag ganun ko. Maybe semi-retired, but not... I think one day I should, di ba? I'm feeling I have a bad cold, di ba? Sana I postpone this.
How's your health?
Okay naman, okay naman.
Hindi ka mag-stem cell.
Stem cell.
Mag-stem cell ka ba?
You know, somebody suggested, 2 people suggested that recently.
How about, sir, your prior plan on buying into an NBA team? Do you think it will ever
Masyado mahal
materialize?
na
Or masyado na mahal at this
Masyado
point?
mahal.
That's hindi na feasible, sir.
I don't think so. I don't think so. But
Okay. So, Chris, may gusto ka pang dagdag?
malapit na yung World Cup, ah.
Sir?
World Cup. We're probably 170 days, 168 days away. Well, I think part of it is driven by the very fact that I think people, especially the young kids, can learn a lot about values. You ask me what enduring qualities I would look for in our future CEOs. It's the values that have inspired and infused life into the group, no? Such as discipline, hard work, integrity, and so forth. So I think as I said, sports is an activity that carries with it the values that are important into life, and I hope parents do realize that with their young kids as well, to encourage them to take up sports because it's good for them, not only from the physical aspects but from the spiritual aspects in terms of their character formation. If they learn the values of hard work, discipline, fair play, how to behave when they encounter success or failures, I think that's very important. No? And to win, honestly, right? Rather than to win by other means. No? In the case of the World Cup, I felt there was a need for us to redeem our loss to China, which was, if you look at it, China deserved to win the hosting of the 2019 World Cup because they just threw in a lot of money to the equation. I mean, their infra was nowhere near where we are today, even today. No? And I just felt I owe it to our country to give it one last try, and we did. So we came up with a more novel approach to FIBA by proposing a multi-country hosting, which was quite new for FIBA and quite new for international sports. And I'm glad we had a friend in FIBA. This was Patrick Bowman, who was the Sec-Gen at that time. And he gave us a fair hearing So he listened to us and so forth. Unfortunately, he passed away suddenly. No? Ayun. So that's part of it. It's a part of the love for sports and basketball. It's the fact that I think if that was the last chance for the Philippines to host an international event like this, and I'm very happy that we managed to win. No?
Pero you still get to play badminton naman, sir. So,
Yeah.
it's a big...
Yeah, with people 1/3 my age.
Seryoso, sir? Not... Galing, ah.
Yeah, with the national team. Some of them with the national team. Of course, I bullied them to submission.
Thank you for joining us in this 3-part exclusive interview with Manuel V. Pangilinan. I am your host, Bim Santos. Join us next time as Context.ph talks to businessmen, CEOs, and policymakers about matters discussed in and beyond the boardroom.